Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun. Iyun. Today we started the 22nd paragraph of Masechah Shabbos, paragraph Beis, Mishnah is Aleph and Beis. The Mishnah Beis talks about seemingly a halacha, ein bishul achar bishul, something that was soaked in hot water before Shabbos. You can soak it again in hot water on Shabbos. It already cooked before Shabbos. Ein bishul achar bishul. You can cook something already cooked before Shabbos. The Mishnah continues. If it wasn't cooked on Shabbos, you wouldn't soak in hot water on Shabbos, even though you can't soak it on Shabbos, but you could rinse it off with hot water, sprinkle hot water on Shabbos, except in certain types of fish with a very thin skin. Even if you sprinkle water, by sprinkling or washing it with hot water, that's the Gemar Malacha. Now, presumably the Mishnah wanted to teach you that since it has a very thin skin, even just by rinsing it with hot water, not soaking in hot water, it'll cook it. It'll cook it enough that it'll be bishul, a malacha of bishul over here. Now, why doesn't the Mishnah say bishul? It should have said, right? It should have said it would be shulo, right? In fact, the Rav Tanura says, hu gemar bishulo, dag shekliposo daka. It has a thin skin. Vadachaso b'chamin, hu gemar bishulo. Even rinsing it off with hot water, boiling hot water, it's bishul, but it says Gemar Malachtan. So I like to just over here we're talking about, think about Shabbos, think about fish. There's different types of fish we eat, gefilte fish, usually boil in hot water. Salmon, maybe you don't boil in hot water, but you cook it in the oven. But then there's something called herring. If you ever had herring on Shabbos, you know what herring is. Herring basically is herring. It's raw fish basically that I think it was cooked at one point, or maybe some of it's raw actually. But you put it in some onions and some sauces and something like that. Herring is a very popular food to eat on Shabbos. Now, herring, I believe when you take it out of the ocean or the sea, wherever you get it from, it needs to be cleaned off. Right? It needs to be cleaned off. You're not going to eat it like that, right? Even if you might eat it raw, I think herring is raw. Even if you can eat it raw, it's kind of disgusting when it has, the skin on it, right? A lot of fish, even salmon, you want to take the skin off. So it needs to be cleaned off. So I believe over here, the Mishnah is saying over here, it's not talking about bishul over here, right? Because some fish you eat raw, you don't eat cooked. The problem is if it wouldn't be eaten without washing it off, so you are making it, processing it and getting it ready for achila over here. So that's why it's called Gemar Malachtan. Maybe it's called Makav Patish, part of the Malacha Makav Patish of finishing a kli, but this is a food, this is not a kli. So Gemar Malachtan, I'm not sure if the Malacha is Bishul or Makav Patish, or maybe a different Malacha, but the point is that it's not necessarily bishul. It could be makav patish, and the reason is because rinsing it off with hot water. It's not because of the cooking, right? Because a little hot water, even rinsing it with hot water, is not going to cook the fish, or it's going to cook it enough to make it. When you cook something, you have to cook it at least chamaycha ben drusai. It has to be at least a third cooked. At least to make it rare or medium rare that it's edible. If you cook something a little bit, put a little hot water on a raw piece of meat, that's not called cooking it, right? Because it's not going to significantly change it that it's royal achila. So you have to do something which makes it royal achila. So here we're talking about hadacha, to washing it off, because without washing it off, it's disgusting. You wouldn't eat it. When you wash it off with hot water, so it takes up all the dirt or all the skin, and therefore it's royal achila, and that's why the malacha is not bishul. The malacha really is makav patish, kamar malachtan. I don't know if it's makav patish. Maybe it's some other malacha. Maybe it's malicha, right? Salting is a malacha, right? Malicha is like when you take the salt out of you salt meat or something like that, either to preserve the meat or to give it taste or something like that. So that's mar malacha. You make the meat edible. So maybe it's like malicha. You're seasoning the food. Seasoning the food would also be a malacha, but I don't think it's bishul. It's either malicha or maka patish. As I have to say about this mission over here. I hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.